These days, many people dream of discovering life beyond our planet. This desire unites not only scientists, but also the general public. NASA and other space agencies are actively conducting researches in the field of astrobiology and programs to search for extraterrestrial civilizations. They are looking for traces of life both on Mars and on planets in other corners of the universe. All this is done with one big goal: to prove that we are not the only ones in the universe. In support of their ideas, they point to the huge number of stars in the universe. Yes, the universe is really huge, and there are probably even more stars in it than grains of sand on the entire Earth. This fact was stated in the Bible thousands of years ago, when God addressed Abraham and promised that he would multiply his descendants like the sand on the seashore and like the stars in the sky. Scientists recognize this fact only in the Middle Ages. It is difficult to imagine such a number of stars, and it would seem that, according to probability theory, there must be enough suns and enough planets on which there is intelligent life. But the number of stars is far from the only factor that must be taken into account when assessing the probability of life in the universe. Let's consider some factors. The Bible says that God created paradise on Earth and not on any other planet. And now we will see that the violation of even one factor will turn the planet into a living hell. First, for a planet to be habitable, its star must be very similar to the sun in size and energy in order to give the planet the required amount of heat. Based on the accepted classification of stars, this must be only a G2 star in the main sequence. And there are only 1% of such in the universe, and many of them are not as stable as our sun. It was created by God on the fourth day of creation, just so that life would be possible. Second, to avoid catastrophic temperature changes on the planet and the destruction of all life, the star must constantly generate the same amount of energy. God promised, as long as the Earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. We see that God himself controls that there are no fatal temperature changes on our planet. Third, maintaining the desired temperature on the planet also depends on its orbit, in which it revolves around the star. The orbit must be an almost perfect circle inside the habitable zone. Life largely depends on moderate chemical reactions that occur at temperatures between 0 and 100 degrees Celsius. The book of Job says he spreads out the northern skies over empty space. He suspends the earth over nothing. Thus, we see that God has determined the best orbit for the Earth. Fourth, it is imperative that the planet be surrounded by gas giants, which will best protect it from collisions with various space bodies and debris. Psalm 147 says that God determines the number of the stars and calls them each by name. God controls that everything in the universe is in its place. Fifth, the speed of rotation of the planet around its axis must also be neither fast nor slow. Otherwise, say, a day would last 1 hour or 1 month, which would harm life activity. God created day and night on the first day of creation, determining the best length of the day. Sixth, to allow the existence of life, there must be a large amount of clean water, and not somewhere in the depths, but on the surface. Seventh, the temperature and acid-base balance of water on the planet must also be optimal for the existence and growth of living cells. This is exactly what God did on the third day of creation, saying, "Let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear." Eighth, since the force of gravity depends on the mass of the body, the planet must be such that it can hold the necessary volume of atmosphere around itself. Otherwise, either nothing living will be able to breathe, or the atmospheric pressure will be too great for life. Ninth, the composition of the atmosphere is also very important. Our atmosphere consists of approximately 20% active oxygen and 80% neutral nitrogen. More oxygen would cause terrible fires on the surface of the planet and would also lead to the self-destruction of living cells. Less oxygen in the atmosphere is no longer suitable for life. In addition, the atmosphere serves as a kind of shield from solar radiation, ultraviolet solar radiation, and high-energy subatomic particles that can destroy cells. For life to exist on a planet, it must have such an atmosphere. The sky, that is, our atmosphere, was created by God on the second day of creation. 10th, The planet must have a magnetic field to protect it from the destructive effects of the star. The magnetic field reflects the flows of electrons and protons from the sun and is also a kind of shield for the planet. Too strong a magnetic field will destroy the Earth's crust, and too weak a field will not be able to reflect charged particles. You can find more information about the Earth's magnetic field on our channels. 11. On the surface of the planet, there must be sources of carbon-containing substances that provide organic compounds that are the basis of living cells. Statements that silicon, for example, can be an alternative to carbon are not entirely correct, since many of the carbon compounds that are useful to us either do not have silicon analogs at all or are not found in nature. Although there is enough silicon on Earth, no organosilicon molecules have formed here. All these factors necessary for life to form are described in the first chapter of the first book of the Bible, Genesis. God created heavenly conditions for human life on Earth. The anthropic principle of science also speaks of this. Everything around was created for man, and where there is no man, there is nothing at all. We are the only creatures in the entire universe created by God. So friends, attention! We are starting to make a strict list of conditions that a fantastic exoplanet, a planet outside the solar system, must meet in order to be habitable. There are many more of these conditions that make life possible on our planet. For example, the presence of small elements necessary for living cells near the surface, etc. Let's calculate the probability of finding an exoplanet that meets all the factors listed above. For simplicity, let's say that there are 100 billion galaxies with 100 billion stars each. This is 10 to the power of 22. Let's say that 1 in 10,000 stars is a G2 star, similar to our Sun. There are 10 to the power of 18 such stars. Let's further assume that one of these 10,000 stars has a planet in the habitable zone. This gives us 10 to the power of 14 possible planets. Let's assume that there is a 10% probability, although this is a very generous estimate, that each planet will satisfy one of the necessary conditions listed above. In fact, even a 1% probability is too high. But for complex life forms to exist, a planet must satisfy not one, but all of the conditions at once. Location inside the galactic habitable zone, a stable star, the planet being inside the star's habitable zone, a stable orbit, an acceptable speed of rotation around its axis, protection by gas giants, a suitable atmosphere, a suitable planetary mass, sufficient water, a magnetic field, a moon of the right size, a crust that allows plate tectonics, a suitable ratio of water to land on the planet, an abundance of carbon compounds, trace elements of the right types in the right quantities, etc. There are many more conditions that can be listed, many more than the 15 listed above. If we now multiply the probabilities, we get 10 to the minus 15th power. That is, according to probability theory, there is not a single such planet in the entire universe. From this, we can draw a very simple conclusion. There is no other habitable planet in the entire universe except our Earth. And there is no undirected evolution that would create something similar to our planet, and there could not be. We have considered only a few critical factors, both on an astronomical and atomic scale, necessary for the existence of life. The combination of these factors and their presence on our common home, planet Earth, is a clear proof that our planet was created by God, and we are unique in the entire universe, as the Bible says. Subscribe to our channels to learn more wonderful facts about the creation of the universe by God. Write to us if you want to know the truth about the history of our planet, the meaning of life, and its purpose. God bless you.